Coming up, we'll tell you why a group of bar and nightclub owners have filed a lawsuit and the restrictions that they want to see lifted. A controversial police shooting that sparked protests across the country. An officer now facing charges, but not for the actions you might think. We will have the latest. And something you don't usually see, a bull went off the range and into the streets of Indianapolis. We were there for the wild roundup.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 5, streaming now.
Welcome in. We begin with a hopeful sign as we deal with the COVID-19 pandemic. We have just learned Indiana is moving forward to stage 5 of the state's reopening plan. Good evening. I'm Amanda Starantino. Governor Eric Holcomb made that announcement just a short time ago during his weekly press conference. The governor says Indiana is tracking in the right direction when it comes to mitigating the spread of the coronavirus.
I just want to take 10 seconds to say thank you, because we don't do this without, adjusting our daily lives and our routines and how we interact with one another, how we are physically separating ourselves more than in the normal times, how we're washing our hands, how we're masking up. All those actions have an effect on our overall performance as a state of Indiana, county by county, community by community.
Governor Holcomb says stage 5 will start on Saturday. All of the size limitations in gatherings will be lifted, but people and businesses are encouraged to continue to follow social distancing guidelines, and you are still required to wear a mask in public places. For more info and details on stage 5, click on this story on the homepage of WRTV.com. The State Health Department reports 10 more deaths. 3,305 Hoosiers have now died with COVID-19. More than 113,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for the virus. More than 1.9 million people have been tested in Indiana. And more than a dozen bar and nightclub owners in Marion County have filed a lawsuit against the city of Indianapolis and the county health department, saying the COVID-19 restrictions here infringe on their rights. WRTV's Megan Sanctorum spoke with two of those owners today about the impact they say it's had on their business. Some bar and nightclub owners in Marion County say the current restrictions make it nearly impossible to turn a profit, and they're worried about surviving the pandemic.
25% capacity, no bar seating, no dancing or live entertainment, and they must be closed by midnight. Those are the current Marion County restrictions for bars, nightclubs, and age-restricted restaurants, detailed in this lawsuit.
It's like the mayor is blaming us for this pandemic.
Mike Doran owns 2 whiskey business locations in the county. He says he started them more than a decade ago with his dad.
We want to survive, This is our livelihoods. I put my whole, my last 12 years about into this.
But he says with the current county restrictions, surviving may not be possible.
Our customers are telling us they are leaving our establishment to go to these surrounding counties, and these places are so busy that they have a line out the door. They can't even let everybody in.
Others in the lawsuit, like the owner of Coach's Tavern downtown, echo that sentiment.
With our restrictions, we're as full as we can be at night, but unfortunately at midnight we have to say, hey guys, sorry, everybody's got to go, last call. And we're just watching money walk out the door. Both
saying they just want answers and to be treated the same as other businesses.
We understand we're not going to open up 100% yet. That's fine, but we want to be with the rest of the state. We want fairness.
Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, WRTV.
The plaintiffs are asking that the court find the county orders unlawful. A spokesperson for the mayor's office told WRTV the city does not comment on pending litigation. However, he added that the mayor fully supports the health department's leadership and current orders, saying they have slowed the spread of COVID-19. And here's a startling prediction, or maybe just a sign of the times. According to the Indiana Restaurant and Lodging Association, it's unlikely that 41% of Indiana's restaurants will still be in business come next March. And perhaps even more startling, 46% of Indiana operators say it's unlikely their restaurant will be in business 6 months from now if there are no additional relief packages from the federal government. Indiana restaurant owners say their current staffing levels are only 70% of what they would typically be at. And now to new developments in a case that has kept the city of Louisville on edge. The Kentucky Attorney General just announced one of the officers involved in the shooting death of Breonna Taylor has been indicted. The grand jury in this case charged former officer Brett Hankinson with 3 counts of wanton endangerment. Now that means they believe he acted with extreme indifference to the value of human life for shooting into a neighboring apartment. It is worth noting none of the charges against the officer are related to the homicide of Breonna Taylor herself.
We want full transparency. We want the truth. Breonna Taylor's death should not be swept under the rug in any way. Her life matters.
Hankinson, Officer Miles Cosgrove, and Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly are accused of shooting into Breonna Taylor's apartment back in March in the middle of the night. The Attorney General says Cosgrove and Mattingly were justified in their use of force after having been fired upon by Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker. Taylor was shot and killed by police when they executed a search warrant. The officers were investigating a suspected drug operation linked to Taylor's ex-boyfriend. No drugs were found in their search. The mayor of Louisville has ordered a countywide 72-hour curfew beginning tonight. The Breonna Taylor case is just one of several this year, putting a spotlight on allegations of police brutality and racism. The city of Indianapolis has seen its share of tension, and today local leaders are reacting to the Taylor decision and thinking about the future of our own police department. Cameron Riddle joins us now live with that. Cameron.
Amanda, good evening. Just a second ago, you said it was worth mentioning that no charges were filed in connection to the death of Breonna Taylor. However, that is the central part of why people across the country are either protesting, planning protesting, or wondering if there will be protests 6 months after Breonna Taylor was shot and killed by police. While there were charges filed today, there were not charges filed directly holding anyone responsible for that woman's death. With that said, tonight in Louisville, we are already seeing protests. Mayor Joe Hogsett and Chief of Police Randall Taylor were walking around this West Side neighborhood near at Belmont and Michigan Street, just getting a temperature of the neighborhood for their monthly public safety walk. A temperature of the neighborhood and a temperature of the city is what I asked them about tonight. Do they anticipate seeing any protests here in the city of Indianapolis? They said after what happened in May, they are prepared and have taken notes.
But we continue to assess the experience that we had the last weekend in May, what we did right, what we need to change, and if protests appear, the constitutional right of people to protest will be protected. What is not protected is violence and vandalism and looting and mischief and mayhem.
Both the mayor and police chief said they caught bits and pieces of the press conference and the announcement earlier today. With that said, following that announcement, they have made calls to local organizations and groups who we have gotten to know over the past couple of months with protesting throughout the city of Indianapolis. So far, they say there is no immediate word of any protests that could happen tonight. However, the chief, though, saying that they do have plans in place should there be any protests. We're live on the West Side tonight. I'm Cameron Riddle, WRTV.
Cameron, thank you for that report. Metro Police say some sort of disturbance led to a deadly shooting this morning on the city's east side. Officers were called to the 600 block of North Grant Avenue just before 11 a.m. on a report of a person who had been shot. They found the victim lying outside a home. He died at the scene. His identity has not been released at this time. Detectives believe the shooting followed a confrontation between the victim and another man, but it is not clear if police have a suspect in custody at this time.
Temperatures across central Indiana impacted a bit by the cloud cover. Hope you've had a good day. I'm starting to see more color across central Indiana as we transition into fall. Not a lot in the way of blue sky today, but that veil of clouds from remnants of tropical storm Beta to the south, and rain will stay to the south. We'll see the clouds, but no rain. 72 is our temperature. There's the rain from northern portions of Tennessee, then toward Nashville down into Mississippi, Alabama area. Temperatures regionally 77 in Lafayette, 74 as you could see to the west toward Lafayette. Our story then through the evening hours. Clouds around, but we stayed dry. Temperature down to 62 by midnight. We'll talk about some big temperature swings up and down coming up.
See you soon, Kevin. It was an interesting start to the day for some neighbors on the southeast side of Indianapolis who woke up to a 1,000-pound bowl in the backyard. Our Alyssa Donovan explains.
I thought I heard something outside and looked out my kitchen window, and I saw my bird feeder was all destroyed out there.
When Debbie Von Treese and her husband stepped outside to further investigate, they thought their yard had been vandalized.
Everything was turned over on our back patio. We had flower pots busted, chairs on the patio were turned over, and there's a fire pit out there, and it was destroyed.
Calling their neighbors to come have a look at the aftermath.
Debbie said something about big footprints in their garden dirt. And we looked at the next door neighbor's yard, and there stands the bull, just chomping away on their tree.
Police arrived, and the bull's owner was contacted to come pick him up before he caused any more destruction.
So this morning we had a little bit of adventure.
Boone, the bull, had escaped from Filler's Family Farms nearby, a rescue for farm animals.
He's about 1,000-pound Jersey breed bull. He decided he was going to go meet the neighbors and have a little fresh snack.
According to his owner, Boone is pretty harmless and is sort of like a big dog. But neighbors say it was still a shock to see a bull strolling through the backyard.
Been here for almost 40 years, and all we've seen are deer.
I'm Alyssa Donovan, WRTV.
Still ahead on WRTV, the COVID-19 experts get grilled on Capitol Hill. The questions they faced, including ones about the probability of getting a vaccine anytime soon. Former President Barack Obama is reaching out to voters by giving out his phone number and inviting you to tell him about your troubles. We'll explain straight ahead. The late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg is now at the Supreme Court of the United States for the last time. More than 100 of Ginsburg's former clerks met her flag-draped casket and lined the courthouse steps. Some served as honorary pallbearers, and others will stand guard as she lies in repose outside. The public will be allowed to pay its respects until Thursday. That's when President Trump will honor Ginsburg when he visits the Supreme Court. Justice Ginsburg served on the Supreme Court for almost 30 years. She died last week at the age of 87. The nation's top leaders in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic were in the hot seat on Capitol Hill today. They were grilled on the U.S. response so far, just as the country passes 200,000 deaths. ABC's Zareen Shah has this story.
A big day on Capitol Hill for the people in charge of government's fight against the coronavirus, testifying on the U.S. response 6 months following the first confirmed case. A big question on many minds: when will there be a vaccine? Center for Disease Control Director Robert Redfield standing by his timeline that most of America will not be vaccinated until summer of 2021.
I think that's going to take us April, May, June, possibly July to get the entire American public completely vaccinated. But we will have the 700 million doses based on projection by late March, early April.
The news coming as over 200,000 Americans have now lost their lives to the virus. Analysis obtained by ABC News shows that cases are increasing in 33 states, including Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico, and hospitalizations are also up in 16 states. Infectious disease expert Dr. Anthony Fauci testifying Wednesday, a number of people who've recovered from the virus continue to suffer from cognitive impairments like difficulty concentrating, among other challenges.
Have found to have a disturbing number of individuals who have inflammation of the heart.
Another uncertainty, how much cases could surge this fall. Health experts cautioning we could see a twindemic with large cases of flu and coronavirus cases potentially hitting at the same time.
You can prevent healthcare workers having to be overwhelmed simply by doing something that has been around for decades. Get your flu vaccine.
Meanwhile, the Washington Post is reporting that the FDA is writing specific guidelines for the COVID vaccine, particularly that companies need to monitor trial volunteers for 2 months following the end of their trial. The FDA telling ABC News it intends to issue additional guidance shortly. Zoreen Shah, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Feeling frustrated these days? You can tell Barack Obama all about it. It's true, the former president wants you to text him. In a tweet Wednesday morning, he wrote, quote, "All right, let's try something new. If you are in the United States, send me a text," end quote. He says he wants to know how you are doing, what's on your mind, and how you are planning on voting this year. Then he wraps it up by saying he'll be in touch to share what's on his mind too. Giving out his digits is part of Obama's big push to get out the vote. And let WRTV be your central source for all you need to know before November 3rd. Go to our Vote in 2020 digital section. You'll find everything you need to know there, including who is on your ballot, where you can vote and when, how early voting works and when that starts, what mailing in your vote looks like, and any other questions you might have this election season. Keep a tab open at WRTV.com/vote in 2020. Uncle Ben's rice products are getting a new name. They're now called Ben's Original. The company is also dropping the package logo that depicts a Chicago headwaiter. It's part of the company's previously announced plans to create a more inclusive brand. The new branding will have the same blue font and orange packaging and will hit shelves in 2021. The changes are part of a broader movement about racial equality amid heightened criticism of brands with origins rooted in racial stereotypes. In June, the companies that make Uncle Ben's, Aunt Jemima, Cream of Wheat, and Mrs. Butterworth said they would retire or rebrand their products. Walmart is already getting ready for its Black Friday. The retailer says it is hiring more than 20,000 seasonal workers, but these workers will not have positions in their stores. Walmart says they will be a part of their e-commerce fulfillment centers across the country. The company expects to see a spike in online shopping this year. To go with this new change, Walmart is promising an all-new Black Friday experience. For instance, the company says it will spread traditional Black Friday deals throughout the season. Usually the deals only last for a few days. Walmart usually kicks off Black Friday with in-store deals on Thanksgiving. This year, however, the retailer says all of its locations will be closed on the holiday. The nominations are out for one of country's music's top awards. Ashley McBryde, Dan and Shay, Kelsey Ballerini, Luke Combs, Sam Hunt, and Thomas Rhett topped the 2020 CMT Music Award nominations with 3 each. Also, the Chicks, formerly known as the Dixie Chicks, returned to the list of nominees for the first time since 2007 for their video for Gaslighter. Country icon Tanya Tucker gets her first ever nomination for Bring My Flowers Now. The CMT Music Awards were delayed this year due to the pandemic. They will now air on October 21st. Kevin.
Let's change the tune here. We'll talk about the first weekend of fall feeling more like summer. I mentioned big temperature swings the last time we talked. Temperatures are going way up, then they're coming sharply down early next week. 72 in Indy, but look at Lincoln, Nebraska, 82 there, 84 in portions of South Dakota. There's our temperature climb, slow and steady, but significant. Saturday's the warmest temperature within the 7-day planner. That's King of the Hill. Will slide down the other way as we go to next week. Regional temperatures, because of the cloud cover from the remnants of the tropical system, all pretty uniform and a little below average. 76 is our average high right now. 53 overnight tonight. We wave goodbye to the 40s for now. As I put this in motion, it takes us through the day tomorrow and Friday. Notice how the rain's staying well to the south. We missed that opportunity for rain. We'll have another opportunity as we get late weekend and then early next week as we transition with a couple different cold fronts to much cooler air. During the day tomorrow, morning starts mild, temperatures in the 50s, a familiar afternoon high in the upper 70s. The wind will be light. A mixture of clouds and sunshine is what we expect. Temperatures a half dozen degrees warmer than where we're at right now. Friday, mixture of clouds and sunshine, temperatures close to 80 degrees, but we don't quite make it. If at first you don't succeed, try again. And we'll make it on Saturday. Temperature of 84. Look on the right side of your screen. There is your big temperature transition down to 70 Tuesday. Wednesday's high just 64. Beyond this 7-day forecast, all indications are into the first week of October. Temperatures will remain below average. In other words, you'll need to find a jacket coming up. Amanda?
Thanks, Kevin. A fiery rescue caught on camera. A semi-truck rear-ended another and burst into flames. Coming up, how one man's quick thinking helped to save another man's life. Welcome back. This is video you have to see. A Good Samaritan's heroic actions were caught on camera when he sprang into action to save a trapped truck driver from a fiery wreck. Traffic on Iowa's Interstate 80 grinded to a halt when the crash happened. Trucker Bob Smith raced in to help as smoke filled the overturned truck's cabin. But Smith could not kick in the window. Smith was able to use a tool from his truck to smash his way and reach the driver.
I yelled at him and says, "Can you move?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Then you need to get out of the truck or you're going to die."
The driver was bloodied but alive. Smith pulled him to safety. He was checked out at a hospital and later released. A local business is providing a needed service to the community while at the same time spreading a message of hope. All new at 6 p.m. what they need you to hear.